Howdy guys, it's Giovanna, and I'm going to go over 3 ways you can buff your defense for Guilty Gear Strive using
Guilty Gear Exar Rev 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean
Guilty Gear Exar Rev 2.
Yes, 3 ways you can use Guilty Gear Exar Rev 2 to buff your defense for Strive. So let's jump right into it with buff number 1. So when you boot up the game, you're going to go to Battle, scroll on down to Dojo, and then down to Mission. And our first buff is Air Throws. And from here we're going to scroll on down to number 13, and I'll explain a bit how the mission structure works as we go. So you've got 5 attempts to do the mission's given task, which in this case is to catch Kai jumping away from you with an air throw. Anything less than 3 successful attempts will result in a failed mission, but 3 and above will give you a passing grade. Air throws in Guilty Gear and in many anime fighters in general are an incredibly important defensive tool. If you're in a situation where your normal anti-air buttons either won't reach or you don't have enough time to get them out, an air throw can really save you. This is also a great way to stop many air approaches, as in Strive in particular, you can block grounded normals while airborne freely. Still on the topic of air throws, let's make our way around to number 48. Now the reason I suggest this mission in particular is not so that you can practice punishing your opponent for a failed safe jump, but so that you can practice air throwing immediately as soon as you jump off of the ground. So in this mission, Soul is basically going to beat the mess out of you, and then when you're able to get up, as soon as you're able to get up, you're going to jump up and air throw him. This is a step up in difficulty from the previous exercise, but is much more defensively focused. There were countless times I was able to utilize this skill in the Strive beta. And buff number 2 is Fuzzy Guard. So if you don't know what a Fuzzy Guard is, I'll throw up the definition here on the screen, courtesy of Infil.net. A link to that beautiful fighting game term glossary in the description. But basically, in this mission, melee is going to hit you with 2 sets of strings, and randomly alternate between one string that has a high and one string that has a low. But the time it takes for each of these moves individually to hit your block are quite a bit different, so realistically you can cover both options by choosing a specific time to switch between your crouch block to your stand block. So then the purpose of this mission is of course not to train yourself to react to the overhead, but really to remove reaction from the equation, and in a real match scenario, this could free up mental energy to use for other things. And once you get the hang of this mission and the timing, I really recommend trying this with your eyes closed. Even if you were struggling before, you can really get a sense of what you're supposed to be doing if you try it that way. And of course there are many situations and matchups in which fuzzy guarding will be useful to you. And once you get the hang of it, there are many techniques that branch off of your fundamental understanding of fuzzy guarding, like fuzzy mashing for instance. And on to defense buff number 3. Matchup stuff. So we're going to tab over to the matchups tab and scroll on down to example number 33, which is a Leo match. Hold on, y'all hear that? Okay. So anyhow, you're going to pick a character. Really, Baiken is the only acceptable answer here. Maybe Dizzy. But I'm going to use answer because apparently I need my third eye open today. I've been trying to record this for hours. So in this mission, Leo will do a short string into his Cultist Gestuversweit, which is the move where he runs at you and tries to cross you up. The goal here is to simply throw him out of it. As I'm sure you'll notice after you try this a few times, it's pretty important to react to the actual dash animation of the Zweit, rather than trying to guess when he's going to go into the dash based on how he ends the string, because he actually changes up his string enders from attempt to attempt. Both in Exard as well as in Strive, this is probably something you'll see a fair amount of, as if he gets this on hit or on block, this puts him in back turn stance in the perfect position to commit the crimes and thievery he's well known for. And speaking of Leo's crimes against humanity, let's do his other matchup tutorial right underneath the former. So in this one, you failed to prevent Leo from getting to your back, and now you have to block his back turn stance mix-ups. And this is an excellent place to try and apply what we learned in the Fuzzy Guard mission, as there's a pretty significant gap in time between his low option and his overhead option. However, in my opinion, I think it might be important to react to the dash or to recognize that you didn't get hit with an overhead to reset your Fuzzy Guard timing. Of course, you're not allowed to do anything other than block in this mission, but in a real match, when you see him dash back at you to try and reset his pressure, that might be a good opportunity to try to check him or escape his pressure. And yeah, back turn stance is just Leo thing, so you will see this in Strive. And freeing up mental energy with Fuzzy Guard can be really helpful because blocking will not save you from his new command grab. And there you have it, 3 ways to buff your defense for Guilty Gear Strive using Xrd. With Strive right around the corner, for those of you who have already copped Rev 2 or were thinking about getting it, which you should, it's a great game, these are some ways for you to use your time with Rev 2 to buff your defense for both games, and really for fighting games in general, as a lot of these concepts are widely applicable as fundamentals across various games. If you're not going to get Rev 2, but you are going to get Strive, a lot of these missions, or ones that are quite similar, will likely be in Strive. In fact, we've seen some of them recently. This is a closer look into some ways that you can use those missions to strengthen your defense. And maybe you feel that I'm overstating the importance of defense. Because sure, I know combos are super flashy, super fun to watch, and just as fun to do, if not more so, but there's just an unparalleled joy of denying someone who spent hours labbing and optimizing this beautiful, crisp, damaging combo any and all opportunities of landing it. And I want you to experience that too. And if you made it this far into the video, thank you so much, and please leave for me in the comments, Crouching Turtle, Hidden Waifu. Also sub and like please. I need all of the colors. Please help me.
Store. Config.
大したもんだ